fighting to keep their beloved teacher in the classroom.
I'm not the first, nor will I be the last brown and black teacher to be let go by this district.
We genuinely need teachers that look like us.
Denver students rally after their English teacher is let go by the district.
He genuinely keeps that community alive.
Bring Mr. Hernandez back.
Plus, COVID-19 levels are slowly creeping back up. The two Denver metro cities seeing the biggest increase.
These fires that keep popping up.
And forced to flee their homes after multiple wildfires pop up near Colorado Springs.
I could see the flames, which are just across the road. It's really scary and really sad.
And good evening to you, and thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Ann Trujillo.
I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us tonight. And until the sun sets tonight, we have a red flag warning for the entire Denver metro, the northeast parts of the state, and also south central Colorado because, of course, of high wind and low humidity.
And we've just learned of a 10-acre fire in the far southwest corner of the state near Durango. We are working to get more information on that. First, let's bring in meteorologist Mike Nelson.
So, Mike, these warm temps are going to be with us for a while.
Yes, today's one of the cooler days, as a matter of fact, in the 7-day forecast. We've only hit 75. Really a very pleasant day. We've had some gusty winds out there at times. The problem is we haven't any rain recently. So even when you have a day of moderately strong winds like we have today, we still have the low humidity and the extremely dry conditions, and therefore that fire weather warning continues. At sunset, the winds will kind of die down and it'll cool off enough tonight that will be okay. Looking at the satellite picture, though, there's no precipitation anywhere close by for us, and so with that, it's going to stay dry. At least it's not all that smoky. The smoke forecast shows the bulk of that big smoke from the big fires down in New Mexico heading down into Texas over the next couple of days. So here are the headlines going into the weekend. It's going to be a dry weekend and a warm weekend with gusty winds each day, so the fire danger will stay high, but there is a little bit of rain in the forecast for early next week. I'll have details coming up in about 20 minutes.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Tonight we are learning that 3 out of the 4 wildfires that broke out in Colorado Springs are now under control. We do have one tragic update. A woman died in the fire that broke out at a mobile home park. Investigators believe the fire started in that home where the woman was found and that it was caused by an improperly tossed cigarette. We also know the Alturas fire down in Security, it was caused by a hot catalytic converter from an El Paso County Sheriff's cruiser. And that fire burned 180 acres and did not damage any homes. And crews are still working to contain the High Park fire in Teller County near Cripple Creek. This one has grown now to more than 800 acres, and some people are still evacuated from their homes. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon got the chance to talk with one evacuee who struggled to get all of her horses away from the flames.
Well, I did enjoy the weather.
Life in a place like Teller County.
We have a little over 30 horses on the property, and I was there by myself.
Can be unpredictable.
Oh, and that's this morning.
Devin Stone is one of many who had to rush out of their home.
I could see the flames, which are just across the road.
When the High Park fire started on Thursday.
The wind has kept it off of our property, but it's still not predicted where it's going to go and not contained.
Where I'm standing, we're overlooking Cripple Creek. You can tell the smoke in this area has really cleared, but when you go west and you look just beyond that ridge out there, there's a slight discoloration in the sky. That's smoke, and when you're driving that direction, you just can't miss it.
Know that you're on for evacuation, and know that at any moment you could get an evacuation order. So I need you to be prepared.
Those fighting the fire couldn't say how close it is to homes, since it's a fluid situation.
It's really scary. You know, we still have, we've put a lot of work into the property that we got down there.
Putting faith in the firefighters to save the place they love.
There's a big volunteer spirit. There's nothing like a disaster to bring a community together.
Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
And if you're wondering why we're having all these high wind warnings lately, Mike Nelson has you covered. He has a full write-up on Colorado's warm and dry weather patterns, and you can read it right now on thedenverchannel.com.
Denver and Boulder are trending in the wrong direction when it comes to COVID-19 cases.
And today, both counties raised the coronavirus community level risk to medium. So essentially, this means the number of COVID cases per 100,000 people has now exceeded 200, both in Denver and Boulder. That number's tracked over a 7-day period. If you are at high risk of getting severe COVID, the CDC recommends people in medium community levels talk to their doctor about taking further precautions. And we have a full explainer on what level medium means and CDC recommendations for you, also on thedenverchannel.com.
Today, Senator Michael Bennet joined more than 30 lawmakers calling for baby formula manufacturers to increase supply to help curb the formula shortage. We reached out to Governor Polis to see if Colorado was taking any specific action. We haven't heard back yet. Also today, the White House said the Biden administration is looking to use the Defense Production Act to essentially get manufacturers to expedite the process. The administration could not give a timeline on when these supply shortages could get fixed. Now, the White House did launch a website listing resources for parents searching for baby formula, and you can find a link to that site on thedenverchannel.com. Police in Lakewood have arrested the man accused of stabbing a primary care physician multiple times last week. The suspect is 28-year-old Ross McPherson, and officers were able to arrest him at an apartment last night. And the physician he's accused of stabbing went to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, and tonight he is out of the hospital and recovering at home.
Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy made his first court appearance today after being arrested for second-degree criminal tampering. And today, the victim asked the judge to dismiss the case. She said she did not feel threatened by him, but the judge did not dismiss the case. Now, Jeudy was initially arrested after claiming the victim took one of his phones. He then locked the woman's wallet and baby formula in his car. Now, Jeudy posted bond and talked with Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett today. The coach said the team is, quote, going to move forward. And Jeudy has another court appearance at the end of the month. Meatpacking plants put profits over people at the beginning of the pandemic. That is the key finding from a new congressional report. This report looks specifically at big processing facilities like JBS in Greeley. Denver 7 chief investigative reporter Tony Kowaleski has been uncovering practices inside that plant for a couple of years now. Tony, this report puts the industry, also the Trump White House, on the defensive.
It does, Shannon. It's a very telling report, and here's why. Nationwide, more than 59,000 meat workers contracted COVID-19. At least 269 died, including 7 here in Colorado. As people got sick behind the scenes, the report by the House Select Subcommittee on the coronavirus crisis found a powerful lobby working to water down health and safety recommendations and helping to draft an executive order from President Trump to keep plants like JBS open at near full capacity. That conclusion coming directly from communications between plants, lobbyists, the USDA, and other government agencies.
JBS knows that I consider them a hot spot in the county.
Our reporting goes all the way back to the start of the pandemic when local and state leaders identified an outbreak inside the Greeley plant.
The JBS meatpacking plant in Greeley will close.
Within 2 weeks, the plant closed temporarily. JBS committed at that time to test and regularly screen all 6,000 of its employees, a promise echoed by the White House days before the plant reopened.
Our team is working with the governor and working with the senator to ensure that we flow testing resources.
But Denver 7 Investigates uncovered the testing had stopped within days. Workers told us they had no choice but to go to work sick or risk losing their only source of income.
I put my family at risk every day.
And in an exclusive interview, a whistleblower hired to screen employees told Denver 7 Investigates she was pressured to let sick workers go through.
I got chewed out for sending a girl home that was coughing so bad she couldn't even talk.
Because I was showing all the symptoms of the COVID. I was coughing around certain supervisors and they didn't even tell me to go home or nothing.
I had 2 upper managements come to me, the head of safety and the head of HR, and tell me that I should not be sending people home anymore, just to clear them through.
Our cameras also showed little or no social distancing outside the plant. Take a look. Some workers not even wearing masks as they walked inside.
Inside the plant's even worse.
Now, this new congressional report also says the companies aggressively push to make CDC guidelines optional with language like if feasible or where possible. And now hear this. Emails show the companies themselves submitted a draft of the president's executive order days before it was issued. One trade group says the report distorts the truth and ignores the billions of dollars spent to keep workers safe. In response to this week's report, a JBS spokeswoman says the company, quote, did everything possible to ensure the safety of our people who kept our critical food supply chain running. This obviously eye-opening for the many workers we spoke with in the past couple of years. Shannon?
Eye-opening is right. Tony, thanks for your work on this throughout the pandemic.
This morning, dozens of Denver North High School students walked out of class after learning a beloved teacher would not be rehired next year. Denver 7's Micah Smith was at the march along with the teacher who is now facing discipline from DPS.
He's fed me multiple times.
Denver's North High School English teacher, Tim Hernandez, is the only Chicano teacher in the English department.
I like Mr. Hernandez because he's always supported me.
She's had health issues, so she's right now homebound, but he's always checked on her.
But school leaders recently announced they would not rehire Hernandez for the next school year, setting off a series of protests at a school where there are many Chicano students and few Chicano teachers.
He genuinely keeps that community that alive at North High School because there are not many Chicano teachers at North High School.
We talked to Hernandez the day before the walkout.
In no way am I encouraging students to walk out. But I am encouraging that the district listen to the ways in which they choose to make their voices heard.
Hernandez says he was told he was not rehired because he did not interview well, despite holding the job for a year and a half.
The leaders of my school have labeled me as divisive and disruptive. The principal of my school has called me aggressive and attacking, coded language that is hurtful and detrimental to men of color.
The students say the goal of this march is to give their beloved teacher, Mr. Hernandez, his job back. But they also say Mr. Hernandez is a microcosm of a much bigger issue.
We're having Black, Indigenous, and people of color teachers who are leaving.
North High School junior Sebastian Gomez says this protest for Mr. Hernandez is the continuation of a decades-old fight.
This is an issue that my family has been fighting for.
And if teachers of color aren't hired and retained, administrators should prepare for more protests. Reporting in Denver, Micah Smith, Denver 7.
And after joining the student protest, a Denver Public Schools representative confirmed Tim Hernandez was placed on paid administrative leave. And when asked why, the district said they would not discuss specific personnel decisions out of, quote, respect for employees. Suited up and ready to play.
It's a really good class. I'm excited to be a part of it. A lot of cool guys and a lot of really good football players.
Rookie camp kicks off for the Broncos' newest members.
And to meet all the rookies, everybody in my class. I'm out here to work, getting used to being out here with the altitude and everything. Just getting to work with the guys, really, it felt really good.
Plus, Comcast is forced to switch plans for tens of thousands of Coloradans to save customers money.
And bringing medieval times to Denver with a new armor exhibit opening at the Art Museum.
This isn't just ancient history in someone's imagination. These are real things that survived our day.